Go.
Hello everyone, I am OddBoyFJ, and welcome to episode 6 of the Cringe Squadcast. Today, I am joined by Dylan,
Hello.
Russell,
Hello there.
and Vignesh.
Hey there.
All right, so yeah, welcome to the sixth episode. And
Man,
in today's episode, we will be discussing the starting of our podcast. More into depth.
Yeah. Like
Yay.
yeah,
more into depth than what we did in the first episode, where we basically kind of just briefly mentioned it. But now we're gonna go full into depth. Why do we decide on the idea of making a podcast with all of our friends?
Yeah.
yeah guys, we're
Yeah.
gonna give full detail than you guys did in the first episode, because,
Yeah.
like you said, briefly explained it, or you briefly talked about it, but now we're gonna go full into detail. So,
And it's
Exactly.
gonna be pretty fun. Stay
yeah,
tuned.
So here's what I want to do now. I want to make a quick announcement. We are actually getting pretty close to 30 subscribers. And another thing is that our views have absolutely skyrocketed. So
yeah,
appreciate
like the
Yeah,
fifth
1,000
episode.
views.
The fifth episode, like in the first 48 hours, got over 150 views, which normally, like, before that, like, our episodes would usually go, like, around, usually over 100 for, like, a week. But this one just skyrocketed so much faster than we expected. Because, like,
And also the total views is 1,000 views. Alright. Thanks guys
over a
so much.
thousand.
yeah,
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks so much for
Yeah.
supporting our
Yeah.
channel.
So if you want to continue in supporting us in for this podcast and wanting to see more episodes, make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and again in well, kind of like what I mentioned in the last episode, we now have a comment section now for not only this video or for this episode, but also all the previous videos, so you can comment down in those videos and say, hey, I want to be on the next episode, or hey, I have an idea that you guys should do, and if we think it's a good enough idea, or like you're not spamming us, like trying to get onto an episode, then we'll either see if it's a good episode idea and we'll make it into a future episode, or we'll figure out which episode you can join.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
Agree.
I think I should have said this before you guys started talking, but, like, the fifth episode, for its week before we started this one, the views were over 220, which,
It's mind blowing.
like,
Jeez.
guys, thank you guys so much. I think there are two possible reasons why it skyrocketed. One, my first appearance, because people have been waiting for me, and two, it was based on, like, a popular topic that most podcasts do.
Yeah.
That's just my guess. I'm not saying it's 100% true. That's just my theory.
I mean, yeah, it could be one of the both, or it might be both reasons,
Yeah.
or it might be something else.
Well, let's not drag on too long about this. Let's get
Yeah.
started on the topic.
Yeah.
So
Again.
today we're gonna start with Russell actually telling us basically, startup. So yeah, take it away.
Thank you, Dylan. But yeah, so like we said earlier, this is gonna be us talking about um us starting the podcast, and it kind of leads all the way back to fourth grade when I started watching a lot of actual podcasts back then. Um, and podcasts back then were still at their infancy, where they were just mostly pretty generic, all of them. But I thought, you know what? It se- this seems like a perfect idea for us to do. All of us, like me and my friends, we come together and we get into a room and we just talk for like an hour, and that kind
Shared
of was the
idea.
original kind of spark of an idea of the podcast when I initially thought about it in fourth grade. But over the years, um, I've kind of sort of just kept it in the back of my mind. Like
Like
one
like
day,
you
like I'll
deleted.
probably like I didn't delete it from my mind, Franco.
Well,
But
like,
Just let Russell talk.
well,
Just let
like,
Russell talk.
I forgot. Well, oh, okay. I was just about to say, like, you delayed it so much because you wanted to be done right.
Yeah, but also I'm like, well, like when I'm gonna ask my friends, because they're probably not gonna like it. Because
And
honestly,
also,
we were kind of like, like especially around middle school when we really just had no ideas of what we wanted to do. So I was like, I don't know. And
yeah.
finally, about a little over a month ago, was on I know this may sound a little bit cringy to some of you guys, especially for some of your older viewers, but when me, Dylan, and Franco were on a Fortnite session, I kind of got the spark back in my mind of, oh yeah, I had a podcast I wanted to do with my friends. So I kind of mentioned it to both of them that, hey, I had this idea in the back of my mind. I don't know if you guys are gonna like it, but I guess we could see where this is going. Um, what are you guys' opinion on us starting a podcast where basically we just talk about whatever we want to do for each week? Um, and basically just talking for however long we want to talk about just random crap. And as you guys can clearly tell, because we've been doing this for now 6 episodes, they clearly agreed with the idea. Um, but I'll kind of let Dylan or Franco take this one away. Preferably Dylan, since he was kind of one of he was kind of like the first one to kind of jump on the bandwagon of us doing the podcast. So Dylan, why don't you take it away?
All right, thank you, Russell. So yeah, so we were basically just playing, Fortnite, just mess around, and then Russell just brings up this podcast idea, and at first it's like, just how people are, just bring up random stuff in conversations, but then I started to think about it. I'm like, hey, this could actually be a pretty good idea. And then eventually we just keep on talking about it more and more every day. And then we finally decide, hey, let's actually do this. Let's stop talking about it. Let's get it done. And yeah, we've been working on schedules. We've like pretty much mapped out all of our episodes for the rest of 2020 and the beginning of 2021.
Yeah, stay
Yeah,
tuned
it's
for the
just
like January of 2020, because there are some very very good episodes coming that way.
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it's actually been a lot better than I thought it would be. Like, not that I thought it would be bad. Like, I thought
Yes,
it should be like, oh yeah, pretty good. But it's actually really fun.
probably like you were thinking like a mediocre success, like oh it was good, and we'll probably do it for like 5 episodes. Like we'll just
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, we've been going hard to work at this. Like every Wednesday or so, we come up with like ideas what we're going to discuss in the podcast, and we write them all down.
Yeah.
And then yeah, we don't want to go off topic or anything. That's why we have the bullet points right in front of us, so we know what to talk about.
yep.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
uh,
it's just been good.
Franco,
Yeah.
why don't you tell your side of the story with us really quick?
uh, sure, I'll take it away. So, like they said before, we were in Fortnite, and Russell and I were like chatting about. Well, Russell brought me like the idea of him doing a podcast since elementary, and I was like, oh, I had the idea of one as well because during this time, or what like like I used to like, or I do watch some podcasts, and they sounded fun, and I decided, yeah, let's do it. And but um, wait, is my audio working? I keep thinking.
Yeah, it's working.
It's
All right.
working fine. By the
Yeah,
way,
I'm
guys,
just.
if you guys are wondering what Franco is saying, we've done multiple tests, and for some reason now it's starting to become a kind of a little bit weird. So this is like our first attempt at recording. Um, and it will hopefully be our only recording, but
Yeah,
we can only find out by the end of the episode.
I just
Well,
hope like
anyways, yeah, Franco,
I just
continue.
I just hope like the audio for like the for you audience sounds good because For me, you guys like glitch out a lot, but hopefully it gets smoother. But anyway, um, so yeah, I agreed with Russell's idea, and then like I probably should get into this uh part real quick. Then so this part is like the naming and the date. So we wanted to choose a good name for our podcast, and we had two ideas: the Cringe Squadcast or the Cringe Podcast. I personally wanted the Cringe Podcast, and then what they did was, or what Russell did. Actually, I'll just say you guys. They had like a or on Russell's Instagram, he had people vote on what the name should be, and it ended up being the Cringe Squad Cat, which honestly, right now, it's not a bad name. I actually like it.
Yeah,
And
and
the date, and the date.
really quickly, to kind of specify what we're talking about, I did make a Instagram video on my Instagram, which will hopefully be down in the description below. Um, Basically me saying, okay, just letting you guys know, me and my friends are gonna be launching a podcast soon, and we want you guys to vote on which name, um, to vote on, the Cringe Squadcast or the Cringe Podcast. Now, me personally, I don't know about anyone else in the group. Obviously, we only have 4 people on here, so it's gonna be kind of hard to kind of get everyone's opinion on this. But for me personally, if we called it the Cringe Podcast, I thought it was just gonna crash and burn.
It's just too. I mean, no offense, but it's just kind of bland.
It's
Yeah,
bland and also like,
it sounds a little common. Like most people have or something like that. I don't know. I
um,
felt like, yeah,
well, it's for me, it's two things. One, it's bland, but also two, it's like I feel like at the time people were gonna get turned off of a podcast made by a whole bunch of teenagers called the Cringe Podcast. And then they're just gonna be like, oh, like, what's the point of us watching this? It's gonna be hella cringy. Let's just watch something else. And I was like, well, I don't want. I mean, it kind of is, but I don't really want the cringe part of the title to be the central point. Uh, Saying like, hey, we're gonna do some really cringy stuff here. Don't watch us, because obviously that's not what we're trying to do. Um, but I thought that the name the Cringe Squad was not only a good name, um, but it was also kind of original, in a way. Um,
Yeah, I agree.
um, and the date was, I believe, when we actually launched the channel, and our first episode
Wait,
was,
should I take this part?
yeah,
'Cause-
sure.
all right. Well, uh, we were playing on like when we should start this podcast, and the original date was actually going to be October 16th, and I was going to appear in it, but then they decided to to like do it early, and the schedule or the date was September 18th, I believe, September 18th.
I believe
yeah,
so.
Yeah, I
All
believe
right,
so.
and like I needed a bit more time, and I wasn't prepared, so um,
So that is why
it
you
was
guys
like
actually. That's why actually Franco didn't appear in the podcast until the 5th episode, because you was trying
And
to figure out.
also, sorry to interrupt you guys, but the reason we like pulled it earlier was because we like there was no point in waiting if there's nothing to wait for. Like we're already ready. Why are we waiting like a whole another month if we could just do it now? That's why
Yeah.
we decided to do it.
yeah.
So
I
we just
agree.
couldn't
So,
wait.
so
and
yeah,
that costs like
yeah, like Franco said, the original date for us starting the channel was October 16th, and we moved the date forward to September 5th, no, 18th. Like Dylan said, to just like if we got basically everything ready, what's the point of just waiting? Um,
Yeah,
and so we were just like, you know what, screw it, let's just do it right now. Even though that did cost us to kind of let Franco kind of get to kind of not be in the first few episodes until the 5th one, which honestly for me I think it was kind of a benefit because now we
I
kind
think
of
that
already.
I think that kind of got people hyped because they were like, "Ooh, who's this Franco guy? I
But
can't wait for him."
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that, but also the fact of like we kind of know now. Okay, now we know what we're doing with this podcast. We know that we're gonna be confident about this, and we know that people like it.
Yeah, I think
Because
like by the time we got to episode 3, we kind of got a groove, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Till then, we were kind of nervous.
And also, if we were to have started the podcast on the 16th, this would only be like the second episode. How we all
Yeah.
met today.
yeah, so
And actually, another thing that I should mention is that
mhm.
because I was not gonna appear until episode 5, which was October 16th, um, we actually had to switch episode 3 and 5. So episode 3 was gonna be the school stories, and episode 5 was gonna be our video game discussion. But I
Well,
asked them,
actually,
hey,
we switched episode 2 and 5.
episode 2 and 5.
Yeah, episode
Wait,
two was episode 2 was originally gonna be school stories, and episode 5, I believe, was what was it? I think it was
Episode 5, it was like a Fortnite discussion or something.
yeah, it was a
No.
Fortnite discussion, and then we're like, no, I think we should push back the school stories episode until episode 5 because actually no, we kept the schedule like that. Well, we switched the episodes around.
yeah, and also like
And then we decided,
it,
okay, and then Franco said, okay, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna join the podcast on the 5th episode. And we're like, okay, let's move the school stories episode to episode 5 because we need Franco for that.
yeah, because like in that episode I had like a bunch of school stories. I still have a bunch more, but like those were like the main good ones that
And
got
I guess
and
really
that
quickly to kind of sorry to cut you off, Franco, but like really quickly, if you guys like, I mean, obviously you guys like the school stories episode, but if you guys want a sequel episode to the school stories, leave a comment down below
Yeah.
because
yeah.
we have
Part 2.
we have
We're excited to
we
make
have a
it.
buttload of more school stories episode,
Yeah.
lots more school stories that we wish to tell you guys about. So if you guys want a part 2 or maybe even a part 3, if we don't fit all of them in there, leave a comment down below. Because
Yeah.
then that really wants us to make a part 2. But anyways,
Yeah.
Franco, continue on. Just want to mention that really quick.
I forgot what I was talking about. Shoot.
I think you were talking about
You were talking about
Oh.
how you were saying we had to switch around episodes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I had these guys switch around episodes because I just wanted to like appear in like some of like the episodes where I have like the best content or like the best parts to say because
hmm
the school stories I had like a bunch of good ones and I actually made Russell laugh like
Yeah.
I did not expect that because like
Well,
normally I
you
don't
made most of us laugh actually.
yeah.
yeah
You
like
made me laugh as well.
yeah and then like actually real quick my I finally got a headset so that's why my audio is like hopefully it sounds more clear because the 5th episode my audio does not sound good because
Wasn't
Well,
that
the
bad.
echoing
It sounded good, but I think the problem with that was that you could hear our audio
c-
in the back of Franco's audio.
yeah the background noise
hmm And
yeah
that clearly shows
Yeah.
that, like, obviously you don't have a headset on. Which, if you guys could hear the background audio of mine, it's not because I'm actually using the computer audio. It's actually I actually do have a headset on. I don't know why, but
yeah and
technology
like they
sucks.
yeah hope
Yeah.
and like in that episode like near the beginning when I introduced myself I actually show my screen so you guys can see that I didn't have a headset.
yeah,
I
But
mean,
now
it's not like it really matters though. Like, I mean,
yeah.
I just wanted
honestly.
like my audio to sound clear and like I wanted to be able to talk to you guys because before I had or before I didn't have a headset, it was always like annoying or for you guys it was always annoying to like use Hangouts or Discord to just talk to each other when we're online.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially
Because,
for us.
Really
Yeah.
annoying. Like
Well,
we had
yeah.
a very 2 years.
Anyways, let's not go into that. Let's
Yeah,
go back on.
We're getting
we
way
are
off
way off
topic.
Let's
topic.
go back on the topic. Okay, so
Alright.
next, let's discuss how we feel about just recording a podcast present day. Like, what's it like?
Yeah, I think for me personally, it's a real joy that people actually really like the content that we're making. Um, that we just talk about random crap for like at least 20 minutes, and you know, I think like I think saying I'm talking for everyone else in this call and the rest of the members that are a part of the Cringe Squadcast. But we thank you guys for watching. Um, so
Yeah,
like
definitely.
Yeah.
but it is really fun to actually kind of record the podcast because obviously because of COVID-19 we can't really sit in a room together with different mics and different headsets and just talk about the topic.
I think
Um,
like I think not being all together is actually a benefit for like using Discord or any other talking app because it doesn't cost as much as a normal podcast setup would be.
yeah,
Yeah.
And that's
That's
actually like one of the reasons like why you kind of pushed back the podcast was because it was going to be too expensive.
yeah.
yeah,
That's also like
and
important.
um, but I will admit having this whole social distancing thing and not having all of us in the same room together, there are some faults. Like,
Yeah,
even with this episode, for some reason, there was some audio issues with like the audio, like picking up everyone else's audio. Like the first time it sounded like your guys' audio sounded very like it was very jump cutty with the audio. The second time it sounded um you guys sounded like very quiet. Like my mic sounded fine, but you guys it sounded like you guys pick up like
There's
your
some
guys' audio
problems.
was like in the background. But hopefully now this recording, your guys for all you guys watching, this guy our audio is perfectly fine and up to date with one of our standard episodes. Um, but I it is fun to actually talk to like talk to each other that isn't us trying to play a game.
yeah. And I'm
And us
actually
just
glad.
kind of this is like the best way that we could socialize in this whole pandemic.
Yeah, and I'm actually glad like you pushed this whole podcast idea like until this year because if we did it like early, we wouldn't have Chad with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he would have joined later on. I mean,
Yeah, he probably most likely
It
would have joined on later.
it depends on what year we started. If it was 2019, like late 2019, somewhere like that, maybe. But if it was earlier than that, we wouldn't
well, I've known
have Chad with
Chad
us.
since like 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also think there's a benefit of doing the podcast. Like, I mean, we could obviously like stay tuned. Like, fact is like we could publish our like thoughts and stuff, and also like us as a friends, we could actually like instead of like there's many times where people forget each other. In this one case, we could obviously like join back again like every week. So it's really kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, basically to sum it up, the podcast is going great so far. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
having a
like
blast recording it, and I'm pretty sure everyone else is as well.
yeah,
I mean,
like we
yeah.
did not expect the podcast to.
Explode like this.
Yeah, especially the fifth episode. We did not expect that to get so many views so fast.
Yeah, in like a few days.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
did you guys want to cover anything more?
I
uh,
think
Well, I ain't really
actually,
say something else.
I think I should probably say something.
Go for it.
All right. So even though I have not been on the first episode of the podcast, I have been with these guys since the beginning because for those who don't know, I'm the creator of the thumbnails. We're actually like Dylan's original thumbnails. Sometimes we use it, but then I make new, highly improved ones, which I'm proud
yeah,
of.
for I think about for the first 3 episodes, I think we used to at least have somewhat of a thumbnail. We used Dylan's original thumbnails, and then Franco would go off, create his home thumbnails, and then send them to Dylan through I think a file, and
Through
Well,
then
like,
Hangouts.
yeah through
well, yeah, like,
Hangouts, and then
yeah,
Dylan would upload that to the episode, and then that's how
My
we get.
thumbnails were mostly just used as placeholders.
Yes.
Yeah, because
Um,
like
Yeah.
but now
because making
since
these
I
thumbnails like did you want to say something, Russell?
no, I was gonna say really quickly, but now since Franco has uh Franco's not officially part of the Cringe Squadcast, now he can actually go onto the videos and change the thumbnails himself, so that you guys can get the better quality and better actual thumbnails way more quicker than we could have done before.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't like you guys or well like for me creating these thumbnails does take time. Like I don't do it like as fast as I do, or at least like back then because for the fifth episode I put like a lot of time and effort into that thumbnail because I wanted to try something different with that episode topic, and it turned out really well.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
the
agree.
thumbnail turned out
Yeah. I
really
agree
good.
as well.
Yeah, like I'm still like because like I'm waiting for like my new laptop because my current one I'm using it sucks.
Yeah.
Battery life is awful,
hmm
but like I also need more storage because mine is almost full.
I also wanted to say something about this thing.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, so I guess like so at the start I just want to say it again, but like so fact is that Russell I think I got introduced to podcast like I guess when we were playing Fortnite and I guess not with like the first time like the second time I guess Russell just came and it's, like, I think we all played and then after that Russell was talking about like do you want to be part of the podcast and I thought it was a pretty cool idea. It's like I mean, first of all, I think then I was like I wasn't clear like what he was talking about, and I was like, okay, yeah, sure. And after that, later on, I got to know that it was something including YouTube, like sitting on YouTube and stuff like that. So I thought it was pretty cool, and yeah, that's what I really want to say because I didn't get up sure at first.
Yeah, I think honestly, when I first mentioned the idea to you, I don't think you honestly knew what a podcast was. Because your
Well,
reaction
I was
when
like,
I asked you to do, if you, I was like, hey, you want to do this podcast with us? You were literally just like, I'm sorry, what?
yeah,
And it took
yeah,
you like a day or
yeah,
two, and then you're like, okay, now I know what you guys are talking
yeah,
about. Let's do this.
Like
yeah.
yeah,
That's
I don't think I was there for that or like
Yeah, I don't think
what
you
I
were
don't
there
know.
for
You
that.
weren't there. It's just
yeah.
Dylan, Russell, and some other people. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, like, I was gonna say this, but you guys started. But like, going back to the thumbnails, like if you actually look at them, and how I say they take a lot of time and effort, they look so simple. So you guys might be like, well, how does it take that much time? It looks really simple. Creating the thumbnails don't usually take as long, but thinking about what it should look like and what it should include does take longer. Which
Yeah.
I'm still trying to think for this episode, and I haven't got anything yet.
Yeah, I think the most time consuming part about making a thumbnail is what it should look like.
Yeah, because like I think with the third episode, because we were talking about, or you guys were talking about video games, I wanted to make a bit tech themed or technology themed. So, um, and like centering those logos, like for the Xbox, Switch, and PlayStation, took so long, and like getting the boxes even was a pain.
hmm
But yeah, creating the thumbnails not that long. Thinking about them does. But
I think the most in my take, and again I don't know because he really doesn't tell us like how long it usually takes him to make a thumbnail, but I think the most it takes you from the amount of time I get from uploading the video to you actually changing it is maybe an hour
I think
at the most.
I think like for this episode, it might take me somewhere around 2 or 3 days because I'm waiting for my new laptop to arrive, and I
Yeah.
still need to think. Because like I want the thumbnails to look good, and I want them to match like the topic of the episode.
Yeah.
Because
I
like what?
I say just one
Yeah,
just
Russell.
get this one out. At least while you still have this one instead of waiting for your new one. So that we can
Well,
at least
like,
have a thumbnail.
well,
And
like
then if you think of like something better, then we can
well,
go and change it. But at least think of something.
I'm still trying to think of like what the thumbnail should look like, and like with most episodes, like the fourth episode, like where you guys talk about movie and TV shows, I knew what to include. Like I included like the old countdown where like it flashes numbers and it had 4, which matches the episode number.
Yeah.
And I had popcorn because who doesn't have popcorn during the movies? That was simple, but for this one, talking about how we started the channel is a bit more complex.
Yeah.
Actually, I
It's
don't
not as
think we
simple
should.
as just like cobbling together like something about like a certain topic, and it's like all right, here, and it's like because those take like you said, Franco, those take like very like not that long.
I'll try to get the thumbnail for this episode up like probably today or tomorrow. It's just gonna take a bit longer than I usually do, but let's not drag into this for too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going way off topic. So, anyone else want to mention some final things that won't take
Um,
long?
I
I
don't
don't
really
think
want to
so.
mention anything about the topic, but I do want to talk about. I mean, yeah, we already did talk about the whole, you know, suggest an idea or wanting to be a guest on the podcast, but I do
I
kind of want
think
to.
there's one more thing I want to say.
All right, go ahead.
You can also follow me on Twitter at oddboyfj.
Yep.
They'll be in the description.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So, is that it for everyone?
I believe
Yeah,
so.
I guess
I
that's
believe
really
so.
it.
Yeah.
So, okay, let me just. Is that alright if I take over for now?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Alright, so like Russell said earlier, if you want to be a guest star, just leave down in the comments just saying, hey, I want to be on an episode. And we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Just don't spam. Also, leave down in
Yeah.
the comments if
Yep.
you have a good video idea. And if we think it's good, then
Yeah.
we'll probably include it in one of our podcasts.
Mhm.
And lastly,
Should I take over this one?
oh, Russell, no, I've been waiting for this for my whole life.
For your whole life, we literally only started the podcast like a month ago.
My whole life. No, I'm kidding.
Chill out a bit, buddy.
All right. Now, I want to tell you the next episode. All right.
Mhm.
And I think me and Russell should both say it on the count of 3.
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Halloween special.
All right.
So,
Halloween special.
I'm
Episode 7.
I'm so excited for this one.
yeah.
We will be recording it on the 30th and uploading it on the 31st.
And we get
Yeah, like
that
so.
is going to be a little bit off schedule for a typical Cringe Squadcast episode, but we want to be timely. Might as well upload it on Halloween.
Like
Yeah.
when you guys mentioned like or when I saw that in Discord, I was like, are you really gonna do this just to like match the day? And I mean, even though it might be a day late than our usual Friday, it's still gonna be there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just gonna be one day later, and after that, the normal schedule will continue on every Friday,
Yeah.
except for like
Then I-
holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas. It'll be on
Mhm.
Yeah.
It'll be on
the
those
day
two
of that
days.
holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I saw the title, I was like so excited because
Yeah.
Halloween.
I
Well,
honestly
anyways,
don't.
And really, like, what we're going to be talking on that episode is really, like, what we do around Halloween, maybe what movies or TV shows we watch around Halloween. And
Yeah.
just all Halloween in general.
Yeah.
I don't know if I
So-
really have that much to
Trick
say
or
about
treating and
for
all
Halloween.
those stuff.
It's me.
Well,
It's
even
gonna
if
be
you
more
do,
or less-
let's not say any more about it. We gotta
Yep.
save it for the
Yeah.
episode.
But anyway, guys, I
Yeah.
think that's is that it for everyone?
I think so.
Yeah.
Good
All
for
right,
me.
well, anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Cringe Squadcast. Thank you to Dylan, Franco, and Vignesh for joining me on this episode of the Cringe Squadcast.
Yeah.
And
Hey.
stay tuned for next week for our Halloween special.
Ooh.
Let's go.
69.
Tuck it, buddy.
What the hell? Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And stay tuned for next week where we're going to be talking about our Halloween memories.
There should be a team called the
See ya.
69ers.
Goodbye.
Franco,
See
shut
ya.
up.
See ya. See ya.